Hi everyone, welcome back. Episode 2 of Project Nova today. We're going to be talking about Rust from a different lens. We are exploring some player psychology, a bit of politics, and we're going to touch on Rust hardcore mode. I love this chat with Bran, and if you like it as well, I'd really appreciate a like and a subscribe. And even a comment with some suggestions or topics we could explore on this platform in the future. Alright guys, let's jump into it. Welcome to Project Nova, Bran. How are you, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. I do have this really annoying cough that's been lingering for a while, so it might crop up in this little chat.
Alright, we might have to edit it out. Just customary. Can you do a quick intro just about how long you've been playing Rust, how many hours? Do you normally play solo, duo, groups, and then what sort of gameplay you like to engage in?
Well, I've got about 4.2 thousand hours, but most of those have been spent sorting boxes and, loot.
Being a base
Being
bitch?
base bitch. Yeah, that's most of my Rust career is being base bitch, which I thoroughly enjoy. Don't get me wrong. I love organizing boxes.
Yeah.
And yeah, in terms of play style, I mean, I like roleplay for sure. And I usually play
Yeah.
as a duo at least. So I play with my partner.
Yep.
And we've played in some pretty big groups before in the past. Like we quite often will end up in these village sort of arrangements. Not necessarily intentionally, but we just usually just sort of like absorb other players into our like little community, which is cool.
Yeah, and I think that's where we first ran into each other, right? In a village.
It was. You're right.
So I was looking at Rust today on Steam, Bran, and it's common for a lot of the labels put on Rust to be about how brutal it is and like how it's a waste of time. You know how you can get raided and lose everything. And also a lot of the comments were talking about how it's quite psychological and it's a bit of a mental battle to stay in the game sometimes. Like you've got to have quite a lot of resilience.
Yeah.
Would you agree with most of those comments or sentiments around the game?
Yeah, I would agree to an extent, but I don't feel like it's entirely necessary. I feel like that's just how it's sort of panned out. I don't know, maybe with like just the mentality of the majority of the player base.
Yeah.
But it's funny, we've run into, like, I want to just call them more mature players, right? Maybe on like the 30 plus side. And you kind of start moving beyond that mentality of like the really toxic,
Group of
the really
people.
toxic behaviors and stuff.
Yeah.
And you can have some really cool, interactions with people. Like while still playing the game and still, like it's a survival game at the end of the day, but you don't have to be fucking toxic about,
Yeah, totally.
killing someone. And
So if I had to push you for where do you think I've got two questions here based on sort of Rust's popularity right now. If I had to push you right now on Steam charts, being the end of the month, and we'll circle back to why that's important for Rust. Being towards the end of the month, where do you think Rust is sitting on Steam charts right now?
oh God, I wouldn't have a clue. Where is it?
Humor me. Have a crack at where you think it is in the top 50.
I don't know, halfway.
25th?
Yeah, we'll
You
go
think
halfway.
it's the 25th most Steam game? Okay. And then I'll tell you where it is. You'll be surprised.
Okay.
It's number 4.
Oh, wow.
At this point in the
I
month.
am actually genuinely surprised.
Yeah, I was as well. And secondly, in the last 30 days, would you think the Steam reviews were positive or negative or neutral?
I'm
Considering
gonna say
we've just had the BP thing. Yeah.
I'm definitely going to say negative just because the player base is generally quite negative. So,
Yeah. Okay. So actually, there's 11,000 reviews in the last 30 days and it's overwhelmingly very positive, 82%.
Wow.
Does that surprise you?
Yeah, it actually does. Like, what are these people saying?
They're
Like, what are
saying
the,
they're saying what I said earlier. Like it's a brutal game. Like it's
Okay.
hard, but so
they
my question to
want the
you then is
challenge.
why is this game has grown from 22,000 concurrent players, a while ago. I don't know how long's the game been out, 8-10 years, and it's now 178,000 this afternoon when I looked. So it's increasingly growing. It's super popular, and even towards the end of the month, it's fourth on Steam. So if it's so hard and brutal, why are people playing Rust in such numbers and enjoying it, even though it's misery? What is it
That
about the
is a
game?
really good question because I didn't actually know those facts before, so I'm genuinely surprised. I mean, it's such an immersive game, right? And you can play it in a multitude of different ways. So
Yeah,
I feel like, that appeals to a really wide group of people. I mean, like no game's fun if it's too easy, right?
yeah. But and that's the thing about new age gaming, though, right? Like everyone wants to skip to the end. They don't want to work for things. Yet you've got a game like Rust, which is super hard and it's growing very fast
Mm.
and has crazy amounts of concurrent players and good reviews.
Oh,
So
sure, yeah. I mean, you've got some really long-term players who played the game for like, since it's been out.
yeah,
That's the
it's
thing that's the thing that amazes me the most is like to be able to play a game this long and it's still somehow somewhat fresh, you know?
it's changed quite a bit. I believe I've only been playing for a year, but talking with like Gopnik and things like that, it's changed quite a lot. But obviously, it's still appealing to the masses.
Yeah.
Or it's become more appealing. So yeah, I was super surprised by those numbers too. But I just don't understand that people say it's a mental struggle. It's, like it's all of those bad things, yet they love it. Like literally the positive reviews say that it's brutal. It's a
Mm.
bit of a head fuck, for instance, but it's a
Mhm.
positive review. Isn't that strange? I don't get it.
Yeah, I find that so surprising because it can be like such a toxic environment to play in, like, the kind of abuse you can endure and it's kind of hilarious that
And
that's what people
love. Like, do they love the
love.
misery? I don't get it. And we've both witnessed like a close friend of ours being sort of, what would you call it?
Mm.
She was getting doxxed and picked on
Oh,
in the game,
yeah.
bullied
Yeah, that's what
to
I
the
mean, like, it's almost psychological, like, um,
well, it
the
got
way
to the
people
point where
sometimes
she
mess with
kind of
you.
had to quit the game and try and escape
Yeah,
all the abuse, right? The
the
mental
drama.
abuse. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah,
what's so
harassment, right? It almost gets to the point of being like, you know,
well, it was
full on
100
harassment.
it was 100% harassment because she started
Mm,
getting doxxed and everything. So
yeah,
it's super strange to me that the game is so popular, so positive, even with the ability to do that to someone, you know?
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it must just be like, I don't know, like, is it just the adrenaline of surviving in such a mentally, kind of draining game like this? Like,
is
is
it
that part of the
is it because it's close to reality? Like the drama,
I
like
hate to
people
think
love
that
the
though.
drama.
People
Yeah.
do love the drama, and I think that is
Yeah.
you definitely get those Rust players that love the drama.
Because I
Um,
would say half this game and surviving in this game, for me at least, is your neighborhood type relationships and the politics that go behind it is
Totally. The
worth more than
politics is
a,
huge.
a big
Yeah.
base. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. The interactions for me are like always the most fun, like meeting new people, kind of just seeing which way people are going to go as well. That's what I mean. It's almost like, how do I describe it? Like the psychology behind it all, I find fascinating. Like you've got these people who might be absolutely lovely in real life, but they come on this game and, they'll be so toxic, like they just get off on
Can
it.
can
And
I
that's
can I quote Russell Crowe here and tell me if you think this and tell me if you think this quote is appropriate. Do you think what we do in life echoes in Rust?
for me personally, yes.
Right.
But maybe I'm just not, your standard player, so I don't know how that translates. But
I feel like I feel like it does for me too. But this
Mhm.
afternoon I got on and I had a really crap day at work, super stressed out. And I was playing on the hardcore server and there's probably like, I don't know, 15 people on there. So there's not many
Yeah.
people running around. And everyone I ran into, I just absolutely KOS'd. Like didn't give him a chance to
Yeah.
speak, and I felt like it reflected the mood I was in.
Yeah, you were venting frustration,
Yeah, I
right?
guess, and
Mhm.
but I'm not usually that sort of player. I'd usually, like, wave at someone or whatever and, give them the opportunity of not shooting me. But today
Mhm.
was not like that, and I wonder if the toxicity we see in the game is people venting or if that's just who
Yeah,
they are. I
probably.
don't know. Because I guess at the end of the day, the game is an outlet. Um, so circling back to why I was saying it was important to highlight that this is the end of the month for Rust. Um, One thing I do want to talk about is like the decline in server population after about the first sort of, I don't know, 30% of the
Yeah.
server life. Obviously, it's quicker on a weekly, but it's a bit slower on like a month server. But it's kind of all proportionate to how long the server goes.
The servers are most fun when it's all fresh,
So
wipe day.
yeah,
It's different.
totally. But is that because of the progression or because of the population?
I'm gonna say progression probably.
Is it fun then to progress
I
on a
think
dead
some
server?
players, will is it fun to progress on a dead server? Um, no.
So it's a bit of a balance, isn't it? It's the progression plus,
It
and this
is.
is, I'm sort of setting you up here, but it's
Yeah.
circling back to it's only fun to progress when you're struggling, right?
Yeah. Yep,
Because you're
definitely. As
struggling
soon as the
against
struggle is
everyone
over,
else. Yeah,
yeah. Or if you drop too far behind,
yeah.
then you're probably gonna, like, give up and move on.
Does that happen? I feel like that doesn't happen to me. Like if I love being
Yeah,
prem
but you're at
locked and
different.
struggling.
Yeah.
Um,
Me too. I don't mind the struggle. It does not bother me. But I think we have a different play style to others, you know?
yeah, so you're saying majority of people either fall behind and quit, or they get to tier 3 AKs and then quit because the progression's
Yeah, and then
over.
just yeah, like or maybe they're encountering the same shitty group and they keep on getting, slammed and it's either too hard or,
They give up. So
the rewards sort of stop coming to them, like the dopamine hits
it's such
dry up,
such a fine line between like a good struggle and an overwhelming struggle then, isn't it? Like it's
Yeah.
hard to balance that. So what do we I find I play I play on the server a lot longer and stuff, and I always have a goal, like I want to like make a shop and sell X, or I want to, you know, fly around in an air taxi, or I always have this strange little thing I'm doing each wipe, and it keeps me super engaged, and I could play like for the whole month. You know what I mean? Um,
Mhm.
a lot of people don't seem to do this, and they just do the whole PvP rush to tier 3, whatever else, and move on. Like, do you think it's how do we get people to start sort of setting their own goals and playing the game not the same way as everyone else, and maybe then they'd
Mhm.
stick around a bit longer?
I wonder whether it's sort of like about creating more of a community. Like I always feel like Rust has like the perfect setting for, building communities where you can do more sort of like fun, organized, quirky, stuff, right? And making people feel comfortable in that or engaged enough with it, with the idea. Like the hotel was an interesting sort of experiment with that. Um, like we set that up on the hardcore server, and I feel like the response to it was super positive. Like people were just sort of like, "Oh wow, this is really cool."
So
The amount of effort you've put into something like that, and they wanted to be a part of it almost.
so
So it's like
what about the hotel though that kept people engaged? Was it just the fact that it was a hub for social activity, or was there something else to it?
I feel like it was a bit of both. Yeah, there was definitely social aspects. Um, the other one I think was like feeling like, part of a community. Like you were part of a group without being part of a group in a way. It was kind of like
Yeah.
a casual way to hanging out with people. You could if you wanted to, but you didn't necessarily have to. And you had your own loot, your own sort of objectives. Um,
And I
yeah.
guess
But then you could
you're
also
all
be,
there to defend the raid too if it happened, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
almost. I think the one raid that we had, it was just Meg on her own.
Yeah, I remember that. I don't, yeah, I just feel like I think the biggest problem with the server population decline we see each wipe, no matter what server you're on, if it was avoidable or mitigated slightly, the game would just be so much better. And
Mm.
I don't know what that is. Is it like trying to get people to think outside the square and do things like making hotels and forming communities or setting their own
Do they want
quirky
to?
goals? But
Yeah.
I don't.
But do they want to? That's the thing. I just don't know whether, like everyone necessarily has the imagination for that kind of stuff or whether they just
I think you've just hit
want
the
to,
nail on the head.
shoot things.
I think you hit the nail on the
Yeah.
head with imagination. Like, I don't think it's a matter of do they want to or not. I don't think it even crosses their mind that it's a possibility
Yeah.
half the time. And they watch all the streamers and whatever else, and they just snowball oil rig and get this and that and raid. Like, I think that's just what
Mm.
everyone is conditioned to
Yeah.
do in the game.
And you never know what how the wipe is going to pan out. So, like that's part of it for them. That keeps it going, but they can,
Yeah, it's
like jump around from server to server, as they die or,
yeah, it's like
like they,
they've got the same meta goal each wipe, but it can be
yeah,
slightly altered by
so
the
different.
other people in
Hmm.
the game. Which
Yeah.
I guess that is a big reason to Rust's success because the
Because
the
it
thing
gives you
that
an opportunity to
changes
always,
well, yeah, the thing that changes each wipe is the people and what they do. So they can completely
mhm,
alter your course, right?
yeah. And also just, like there's a lot of people who just want to, improve their strategies or
The hotel, I mean, did you have any guests?
I mean, we had like some like the usual like returning clients.
Yeah.
Um, but in terms of like new people, no, I think we might have had like one or two. It was pretty sad.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, and I just think that's again comes down to like the maturity of a server population or what the main like play style is of a server, right? Because different servers have different flavors
Well,
in a way.
well, it was interesting that the hardcore server was where the hotel sort of kicked off, and it was thriving on the hardcore server. And it did seem like the hardcore server was more mature, normal-ish. I don't know. Normal's
I
probably
want to
not.
say it was almost like a dad server.
It
There
was
were
though,
like
right?
heaps of sort of like, you know, Rust players who were in their 30s but still had to do real life shit.
Yeah, and I think it was great. There was obviously that one guy that was hitting the pipe and didn't sleep for 3 days
Oh
and
yes,
killed
you still
everyone.
had a couple of sweats.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
he
yeah,
kind of did kill the whole hardcore scene in Australia.
yeah,
Um, but
yeah.
for the first few wipes, it was amazing, wasn't it? It was pretty much an RP server, and a lot of the players came from the William server that shut down.
Yes, yeah,
Um, yeah, it was great, and I guess
that's true.
it's interesting that the hotel thrived on a server with 50 pop, and then when you went to
Yeah,
one with 400, it didn't
we
work.
barely had any. Yeah, barely had any interactions.
It's
And
crazy,
again,
isn't
I
it?
feel like that's because that the playstyle on those bigger servers is often, like less getting out of the base, to do stuff. I also wonder whether it just would have been like, if we'd done it a second time, like, on that server, people might have got the idea a little bit more the second time
Oh,
round.
yeah, yeah, on the monthly server, yeah. Your first interactions with new players for the wipe, you're not knowing if they're a neighbor or not, right? The first time someone runs up to you. So how do you go about
Yeah.
it? Do you shoot first, ask questions later, or
Nah, I'm
you?
always a talker.
So yeah, and what is the percentage of success like that? Do you just get one shot,
Oh,
or is it a 50-50?
usually on wipe day, you know what it's like. It's always grubbier, so you usually will get shots straight up for the most part. I reckon. Actually, I would say maybe it's like 40% success rate.
So do you alter your first interaction with new player strategy depending on how far into the wipe it is?
Um, no, not necessarily. I'll just always sort of just go in. I mean, I'm usually not running anything particularly precious, so
Is that
I'll generally,
the whole base pitch thing where you just sort of always running around with a bow and
yeah, like I'm always just gonna be running around with a bow and a bone knife and some hide hide gear. That's about it.
So that time I dragged you off to the giant excavator, like, is that sort of the extent to the PvE content you get into in Rust?
Yeah, I'll sometimes get roped into a bit of PvE content, but I don't do a hell of a lot of it.
What about raiding and
Us-
PvP? Are you
yeah, I've done a little bit of it, but it's it's fun for sure. But yeah, it's not necessarily what I play the game for. I enjoy being sneaky and sort of surviving. Like I know my skill set. I know what my strengths and weaknesses are.
Yeah.
I'm a farm bot. Like I'll go out and farm.
Yeah.
If I see someone, I'm more likely to run than engage.
Yeah, I mean,
Just my success rate is.
yeah, but if you see,
But I feel like that's, that's pretty. Like that's how it would be in a survival world. Not everyone's going to be great at shooting guns.
yeah, totally. You've got to have your marksmen and your farm bots and your base bitches, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
and you just learned how to be sneaky. Like I'm pretty good at getting loot home still.
is this how you've always played Rust?
Yeah, I'm literally petrified.
Yeah.
Just 24/7.
And so how did the whole hotel thing come about? Like,
I enjoy it.
how did
Um,
that get
I
born?
think. Well, actually, I started a florist shop first. And then Brick was like, "Oh, let's build a hotel." And I was like, "Okay, that sounds fun." And yeah, I just bought a bunch of skins and got into the decorating of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it just kind of was a fun little experiment the first time round.
Yeah. And
We met
it
some
went
really cool
quite well.
people.
Yeah, it was
Yeah, like I really enjoyed the people that we've met.
do you
Well,
remember
like
I'm just I'm gonna I'm gonna play a clip.
Actually,
Hola.
come and think. Hang on, Shell. Hang on. I've just had a thought.
You can check their rooms.
I had someone pinch 1,000 low grade off me this morning too. I wonder if someone is being an asshole.
Let's go and inspect their rooms, Brick. Because it'll have my name on it. We'll know whose it is.
true. Okay, I'll go do room keeping. I think there's only one guy currently on. Black Crow seems chill.
Yeah, he's
I think it's
chill
them.
this morning.
Room keeping. Room keeping.
He's behind you. This is Bogan.
Yeah. Oh, hey Bogan. Oh, hey Bogan. Morning. Good morning.
Hey, how are you?
This is Black Crow's room. I think I found the culprit.
Is it in there?
Yeah.
My
I've
Hazzy
got
and my P2.
yeah,
stuff.
Shellborn made by
what a
Shellborn
dog.
and ammunition, and then what? Syringe,
Yeah, I had 2 syringes.
compass. What did you have?
Yeah, compass, syringes, barricade, and a few bullets, like 40 odd bullets or something.
Oh,
Where can-
have to get HR on that.
But this guy, sorry, was just talking to me before. Well, it seems we had a bit of thievery, from the common area. So, yeah, just located the items.
Black Crow's here. He's outside here, look. Yeah, look at him. Look at him.
Black Crow, sorry, could we have a word? We were just informed that one of our guests, Shalborn, he was in the common room and he may have had a P2 and some bullets on him. I'll just return that for him now.
Fucking hell, the diplomacy.
There you go.
Keeping it safe for me. Who's he keeping it safe from?
Do you remember this at all?
I do. And see, that's the kind of shit that I love.
Yeah, I thought that was one of the funniest shit I've ever seen on Rust. Like, not when I say seen, like I was a part of it. Like,
Yeah, and it was that whole thing of like, oh, do we give him the benefit of the doubt? Was he stealing? Was he looking out for you?
oh, it's just I don't and I don't know where you just get stuff like that ever happen in other games. I mean,
Yeah.
and I think that's the sort of stuff that keeps people engaged in Rust. But oh, that was hilarious. So would you say that the Rust player base is generally good or generally evil?
I think they're generally good, but they're caught up in a really toxic, like environment. You know, they've just learned to play the game this way.
You think it's a
I think
bit of
there's ways
learned?
to-
You think they're mainly good people, but this is kind of a learned behavior type scenario?
Totally. Yeah, it's like how you survive in the game. You learn to be toxic, just like the next guy, you know, or the guy that
So
got you before, whatever. It's kind of just like it takes maturity to break that sort of pattern, I think.
okay, so if I,
And some people enjoy being toxic, though. So, you know,
if
it's
if I
totally-
came up to you and I didn't know you and I shot you the first time outside your base,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
What would happen the next time you saw me? Would you then
I'd
retaliate, or would you try and talk to me, or
I'd
what?
still no. I'd try and talk to you probably the second time round. I usually give people like 2 shots, and then after the second shot, I'll kind of like put them on my enemy list.
And when you say shots, not shots at you, you mean like
Not
two
shots at them.
chances
Sorry,
to
2
be
shots at
being
2
good.
shots to be friendly.
Yep.
And if they clearly don't want to be friendly, that's fine. I totally understand. Not everyone wants to, you know, play the game that way. So, yeah. And then otherwise, I put them on my enemy list, and I'll just be like, "This guy's a dick," you know, my shit list.
I feel like the
Sorry, carry
toxicity comes from boredom.
Yeah, people and getting reactions and chat, you know, like and making someone mad. People love making people mad, right?
Why is that? I don't understand that. I don't.
I don't understand that either.
Yeah,
Um,
maybe this.
sometimes
is,
sometimes I just wonder, like, are they just really unhappy people?
yeah.
Maybe they're bullied in real life.
Yeah, I think you're right, and I think that's where it's, you know, the whole Maximus quote of like what we do in life echoes in eternity type scenario. Like, do they, is that how they are, or do they just come on here to blow off steam like I did this afternoon? You know.
No, I don't think that's necessarily blowing off steam. Like generally, you know, I've had interactions with people in the past where they might have been like initially toxic, or I say toxic, and it's just playing the game, you know, in an aggressive play style.
Yeah.
It's not toxic at all. But, you know, like they'll start off like that, and then eventually they'll come over and be like, "Hey, sorry for being such a dick," you know.
How often does that
Like they
happen?
actually how often? God, you're all about the percentages.
No,
or-
just because
like, I don't know.
I've had that happen too.
I've had-
like I've
yeah.
had people, and I'll respawn
Yeah.
and run over and go, man, I was just like picking my corn or whatever. And they're like, oh, I look sorry here, have your corn back or whatever.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah, exactly. Like their conscience kicks in, and I really enjoy that. Like I'm always like, yeah, like no sweat, man. Like you're playing the game and whatever, and you can keep my loot.
When I have someone, okay, this is like a classic. I feel like this is a bit of a litmus test, right? When I have
Mm.
someone running around outside my base, you kind of got two. You got a few options, right? You can talk to them through the walls and see if you get a response.
Mhm. Yeah.
You can run outside guns blazing with a DB, right, and try and take them out. Or the
Mhm.
third option, and what generally I do if I get no response from talking through the wall, I'll run out there with a not my best kit, not my worst kit, just something in mid range kit, like a whatever I've got at the time, and
Yeah.
I won't have my gun out. I'll just run out like this with my kit
Yeah.
on, where I'm like super vulnerable. And if they decide to kill me, then they're on the back foot in terms of having the guilty conscience. Do you know what I mean? And then I can come back to them and be like, hey, what happened? Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah. Yeah, because you weren't being aggressive, right?
yeah, and if I went out naked and they killed me, then there's not that guilt's not there, right? I didn't lose anything. But when I go out with something in my inventory or a half decent kit on, and I feel like I can go back to them and be like, hey, like what's going on? Like this is my house. Like you just shot me outside. Do you know what I mean? Like and I generally when I use that tactic, it usually, unless it's a super toxic player or like group of
Or like
players,
a 12-year-old kid.
yeah, or I'd hate to say it, but like some sort of Russian like dude who's like hacking.
Yeah.
They usually come around like 9 times out of 10. They'll come around,
Yeah.
and then we'll end up being friends because they're a neighbor.
Uh-huh.
And then
Yeah.
and then I just end up having like the 3 or 4 grids around me. People know who I am because I usually have a stupid role playing base.
Yeah.
And then it's just like you start to build this little like community around you, and it all comes from like a interaction where you put yourself on the firing line to lose something. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Totally. Yeah.
And I think
that's such an interesting way to play the game, and it's almost like, yeah, psychologically sort of, you know, like it's this testing
Well, one of my viewers commented on one of the Rust University episodes I did and said, "Can you do a episode on neighbor politics?" And I guess in essence, this is where this podcast episode is kind of spawned from, because I've been thinking about it for so
Mm.
long and I didn't know how to do it. And I thought if we got on and talked about sort of Rust politics or sort of the psychology of players, like how you make friends in the game and you're friendly with your neighbors. That's how I do it. I don't know how do you go about like making sure the 3 or 4 grids around you is kind of you're at peace with them and
Yeah,
not getting
I
door
like
camped.
to. Yeah, exactly. No, I definitely like to suss out my neighbors early on because we're usually pretty quick to put up a base, and we'll be one of the first ones to settle the area. So anyone new popping in, I'll usually run up to them in their base and just go have a chat and just see, like just say, hey, we're living over there, we're pretty chill,
So you
you
personally
know.
go and greet each newcomer to
Yeah,
the area, right? And
yeah.
I actually, now you say that, I remember you having like a.
Do you
Do you
remember
have
that?
like a
Yeah.
Word document or like a pen and paper that you play with, and you like write down everyone's name and what grid they live in and stuff?
Well, I had to do that on hardcore, yeah. But no, you can actually just use the the contacts in game. So
Yeah.
I usually write little notes like, because you can
Ah.
put people on your friends list, on your enemy list. So I write, notes on where
Oh,
their
I
base is,
see. Yeah,
how
yeah.
many people they're playing with.
It's a game within the game, isn't it? Yeah. And I think this is like,
Make your enemies your friends.
well, this is kind of like why I think Rust is so successful. It's so similar to life, isn't it? A little bit,
Hmm.
in terms of managing relationships and not, being resilient to people that you can't
Yes.
get along with.
Have you spoken about hardcore much?
No.
I think that would be an interesting one to bring up because it was so good for slowing the progression down and creating a lot more even the play style. Like, you had to work that little bit harder, which kept people more engaged, Like you had to go and do things. You couldn't just bank a whole bunch of loot sort of thing and just live off that. You'd always have to go and, farm bullets.
So why do you think it was why do you okay, why do you think it was better in terms of the community and stuff? Do you think it was because of the maturity of people wanting to play that mode, or do you think it was because people had less time to be bored and therefore be toxic, like they
Ooh,
always had something to do?
that is a good question. I think both sides are kind of valid, to be honest, because yeah, there probably is a bit of both in there. What do you think? I'm gonna put it back on you. Like what do you
I
think is the
think
reason? I
that the people that were interested in hardcore wanted a challenge, and therefore they were already that more mature player base that wanted to slow down, have a bit more of a challenge. And I think that's why we had a better community on hardcore.
and moving away from the clans, I think as well. I think people were like, oh, this might be, somewhere we can move away from the big groups because the
Because
lack
of
of
the
the UI,
UI.
Mm.
I think if that was the one of the main drivers of people playing hardcore, I feel like it would have been more popular because there's so many solos that have that issue, right?
It was also people just look at the number of how many players are online without actually considering the map size and the
100%.
fact that people are out of their base more on that server. Like you had to go and scrounge around.
Like I feel like you do even know and this was the Wildrum server. The Wildrum server was always 10 to 30 pop. But if you went to cargo, like 100%
Mm.
there was someone there. If you went to a locked
Yeah.
crate, 100% someone was there. So if you wanted to
Yeah, and that
go
was
PvP someone, you just had to go to an event like that.
yeah, and that was what the hardcore server was like as well,
Yeah,
right?
totally. Like you could go farming and not see anyone,
Yeah,
but then
cargo was fun.
you go to a monument and there was people everywhere.
Yeah.
And I think it would
Yep.
be, honestly, I think hardcore now with the BP changes would be even sicker because
Yeah, true.
everyone is crawling monuments more, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I love hardcore. I don't know. How do you drive the population there?
Like I said, you just got to go and become a preacher of the hardcore server and go on the other chats and just be like, who's sick of the,
Yeah. I mean,
Who's
and
looking for
that's
something a bit more fresh, something a bit more, I don't know. That wouldn't work. I'm totally joking here.
do you know what I did?
But
I
yeah.
have to confess.
What? Okay,
I
yes.
ran
go.
into like the snow area on hardcore and I made a log cabin.
Yeah.
So I made a log cabin. I filled up a box full of meat and wood to run the fire and put a bow on the wall. And I put a sign up saying, stay warm. And then I put like shell RP YouTube. And I just started
Yes.
building things like that around the map.
That's great.
Yeah, and
That's hilarious.
I came back on today and someone had raided through the wooden door where the TC was. Stole all the meat and wood. I was like,
Oh, it's such shitty
Like,
humans.
why? Like, what are you getting from this? It was so funny, but I thought, I'm gonna do my bit to like try and get hardcore going again. And I was just having a laugh really. And I did want to see if anyone come across the log cabin. And yeah, so someone clearly came across it, but they just decided to be like real douchey about it. So there's no pop anywhere.
Yeah, such a shame.
It's crazy.
'Cause I feel like that's, the developers were experimenting with that, trying to create something that did, slow down progression.
So why don't people like it?
Yeah, because isn't that what people have been asking for, to slow down progression? Or
And this is what I keep coming back to, this tightrope of struggle. Like they want to struggle a little bit.
Mm.
They
But not too
don't
much,
want to
yeah.
struggle too much. And
Like
I get
the
it.
Goldilocks thing.
Well, I get it in the casual gamer sense. When you get home from work, you got 2 hours. Like, do you really want to be running a compound bow for the whole wipe? Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Or a crossbow? It's a fine line. I don't know. I think the changes they're making are great. BP frags is epic. It just didn't slow anything down. And if it slowed anything down, it just slowed down the solos. It didn't slow anyone else down. Maybe we do need to do a hardcore chat and try and like. The problem is no one watches my podcast, brand. So this isn't the.
Well, you're just gonna have to work on that then, Shell.
I know. Just pay for some subscribers or something.
Yeah.
Funny.
Has anyone else talked about hardcore, like in terms of Rust YouTubers? I'm just curious. I haven't actually looked to see.
Wilgem played a hardcore wipe.
Yeah. What did he have to say about it?
He thought it was really good, and he said it's moving in the right direction. But basically, he was saying it's just trying to convince the player base that this is a viable option to normal Rust. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was the same thing. He thought it was great. It did have flaws. It was a great idea, and he said he loved it, but it was just kind of, how do you convince everyone that it's a good mode? Because they just look at the pop and they don't want to play it. And it's like, you've played WoW, right? It's like, dead server, everyone transfers off that server. Which, you know what I mean? Like, it's insane that the amount of FOMO people have. I don't know. Yeah. Again.
Yeah, how do you build a server up?
It's a psychology. We're back to psychology. Like, why do people need to have that security of like 400 players before they play the server?
It's more like prestigious, I think, to, battle it out against 400 people rather than 70,
Yeah, totally. And that's what I said to you at the start. Like, is progression for fun on a dead server? No, because it's too easy. And when you get there, you can't show anyone that you've progressed. So, yeah.
Yeah, what do you call it? There's like, I can't remember, it's like a term for a graph or something, where it's like the axes for like, progression and versus difficulty, right? Where it's like got a sweet spot and then it sort of.
Yeah, totally. And I think that sweet spot is somewhere like, honestly, I think it's like 200 or 300 pop. I can't even imagine playing with 1,000 people like those YouTubers.
Oh, what? Do they? Is it 1,000?
Yeah. Anyway, mate, thanks for coming on tonight. That was good. Different chat to normal. I don't think I've seen many people talk about how to make friends with your neighbors and sort of the psychology behind Rust. But
no.
Well, there you have it. Rust is still kicking, 4th on Steam, and highly positive reviews, even though the reviews themselves say it's toxic.
It's hard.
Yeah. It's weird, isn't it? It's a bit of a dichotomy. I think it's very interesting that the game is as successful as it is, considering all your time you can spend can be wiped out when you're sleeping, and the fact that it's so mentally draining. Like, And that's an aspect we didn't talk about, is the whole like being offline and worrying about being offline. Like that's another element to Rust that people talk about.
Yeah,
like,
we used to sleep with our speakers on, when we were being a little bit sweaty.
well,
Or quite sweaty.
Well, it's got to the point, right, where you can get an app and put it on your phone, so you can get alerts when you're getting raided. Which,
Yeah.
I don't know how that can be good for human psyche. Do you know what I mean? Like that
Yeah.
can't be good. I remember being at work once, and
Well, it becomes work at that point, right?
I remember being at work, and the Discord people were like, "Hey, you're getting raided," and I'm just like, "Fuck." Like I can't do
Yeah,
anything.
nothing I can
I'm
do.
like 45 minutes away on a farm. Like I can't do anything. And it was depressing,
No.
you know. It's like everything you've worked for the last week is gone.
Yeah.
And it is a mental struggle at that point. Interesting game, and I think the sandboxy nature of you can play it however you want is what makes it amazing and why everyone keeps coming back.
Yes, exactly. I think that's what I love about it. You got so many different play styles. I just tidy up boxes, man.
Thanks for coming on, Bran. We'll check in with you
No
later.
worries.
Bye.
All right. Bye.